Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Metal video. So in this video we are going to take a look at, well, pretty much answer the question of how good is a single dupe in DBZ Dokkan, or how much does a single dupe improve a unit in DBZ Dokkan. Now this will vary slightly from unit to unit. Some units benefit from dupes more, an example being units with S tier dupe systems gain more stats. These are older units like in Chinemba, but most units now and modern units have a tier stat system, hidden potential system, which is a max of 5,500 in each stat category. So basically we're going to take a look at that. First we're going to do is we're going to take this Goten, who is a 55% unit, into a Dokkan event. You will have seen me done a review on this Goten. If you have seen that, you can just skip, past this Dokkan event basically. But we're going to take a look at him at 55% without a dupe inside of him. And then we'll just obviously take a look at his stats. An important thing to note is that obviously this is before we've put the dupe in. So an important thing with dupes is obviously the first major point with a dupe is the stats. A dupe will generally add around, the first dupe especially, will add around 1,700 or so into a stat category. Now for most general pool SSRs, that's going to be close to an 18-20% upgrade. For most Dokkan Fest SSRs, that's going to be close to a 19-20% upgrade, and then for most LRs, it's going to be close to a 15 to 18% upgrade. Just depends on which stat category. It's obviously averaged out across the board. Some have higher attack stats, some have higher defense stats, etc. So we're looking at about 71,000 defense. I purposely didn't take many other supports on this team so that we could kind of see raw natural stats, because otherwise, seeing them with different supports and stuff would have made things a bit more difficult to measure. But a pretty solid attack stat, pretty decent defense, but nothing crazy, nothing to write home about. You'll know from my review that the 55% he's pretty decent, but he's nothing special remotely. And he has a very simple passive, which is why I thought this video would be good. He gains 10% attack and defense with each attack. And of course, he starts with 150% base. So that's pretty much it. He does provide support to the Gifted Warriors category, but that just gets kind of accumulated into his passive. So in reality, he is, more than fine. So we'll use him as a baseline. We'll obviously introduce a dupe into him afterwards. But as I was saying, the first dupe is always the most important. If you've watched my hidden potential system tutorial video, you'll know that you are always supposed to unlock the bottom right hand path in Dokkan first. It's like the #1 place to do. It's always the most important. It gives you the most stats and it gives you the most crit additional, etc. Then you go with the top left and you proceed from top left to top right to bottom left. So here we are at 79,000 defense. You can see it's gone up a little bit, obviously, from him having his full, or having a single stack of that passive. It's gone up a little bit, so we're closer to 80,000. It'll go up again after he attacks as well. And we should see his attack stack go up a little bit as well. Nothing too crazy. Again, not really getting that much closer to the 2 million mark. But still, not doing a bad job whatsoever. A very decent 55% unit. There's nothing too wrong with his performance. So another perk of the single dupe is, as I mentioned before, a single dupe allows you access to 4 of your selection panels. So those are, you can choose between crit and additional attack for the most part, and for some of them crit or evasion, or additional or evasion, and one of them will allow you to select between all 3. Obviously, depending on how you want to build the unit, you're going to select different things, but chances are you'll always end up with at least a little bit of additional and a little bit of crit. So the thing is it gives the unit the ability to do multiple things. For example, this Goten currently can't additional attack unless I place equipment on him, which I specifically haven't, to not distort the results at all. But yeah, he basically cannot additional at all. After we introduce the dupe, he will have the chance to additional. So here we're up to 91,000. We do have a little bit of a buff from the Trunks. He gives all allies 18%. So that is something there. Obviously now Goten's looking like he's sitting with a solid 91k defense. We have attacked twice already. We'll be attacking a third time. So yeah, pretty decent performance. Right now Goten only has 1.7 million. Not bad, getting closer to the 2 mil mark. Goten has a 10% chance to crit, and that's about it. But after we add the dupe, you'll see how those percentages change. The thing with Goten, realistically, is just literally, yeah, he's just pretty solid. Nothing spectacular, nothing amazing. And we'll take a look at how that single dupe benefits him. Now just remember the stats will go up roughly between, like I said, it's going to depend on the unit, but it can really be between 17 to 25%. It really just depends on the unit, what their stat systems are like, what their base stats are like and everything, and how their passives intermingle. But with Goten, we're expecting roughly at least a 15% upgrade on all of his stats. So we should see a marked improvement stat-wise, but we'll also go through the other benefits he gets from his dupe. So, good performance, but we'll quickly jump across, add in his dupe. I'll show you guys how I'm going to build my Goten and explain that a little bit as well, just as a recap of how the hidden potential system works and everything, and then we'll take a look from there. So obviously, this is Goten, pretty decent unit, of course. We are going to obviously add in his dupe now. The thing with Goten is, like I said, his passive is pretty simple, so that helps us with, you know, our whole theory we're testing. He's just attack and defense 150%, plus an additional 10%, and he gives support of 40% to Gifted Warriors category. So he has low baseline stats, which is why a dupe for him is quite a lot, because his passive does a lot of the legwork in terms of stat gain. So for a unit like Goten, gaining any kind of stats is really, really good, because it's going to be augmented by his very large passive abilities. So we'll take a look here. Obviously, like I said, we're going to go for crit. The reason is to maximize Goten's damage. Goten doesn't really have any special super attack effects like stacking defense or anything, stunning or anything like that. So realistically, we want to give him crit. You'll see our crit chance is now all the way up to a massive 28%. It is 2% for every level. And our additional chance is actually up to 6% and 3% for an additional super. So though I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it gives him the chance to now, which is a very, very important thing to have on the card. So he could, in theory, now actually stack his passive faster. Although it's not likely, it can happen in certain scenarios. You also notice how his stats went from plus 2,000 to now plus 3,700. He's gained 2,100 attack, and he's gained 1,300 health. A lot of those, especially in the defensive category, are close to 18% upgrades. You'll see how I take a card like this, Gohan, who's got a baseline of 8,000 as an LR. Him gaining 1,700 from his passive system would not represent as big an upgrade. Remember, once we give him his 55% upgrade, he's going to go to 10,000. And then 1,700 on 10,000 is only 17%. Whereas Goten gained 1,700 on close to 6,800 defense. So that becomes a much higher percentage for a unit like Goten. Whereas LRs don't benefit as much statistically from a dupe. They do benefit from the hidden potential system probably the most. Because they already start with high baseline stats, being able to give them the ability to crit, the ability to additional, really augments their unique passives that they get for the most part, and can really increase their offensive output. Because the thing about LRs is the most times they're going to be your big offensive hitters. Generally they're going to be your best cards for the most part. So here we are. We are going to enter the stage again and run him in a very similar environment. He won't have a lot of support. He'll occasionally get a Trunks, etc. But he really won't have a lot of support running through his team. So that's going to give us a solid base upon which to compare him to how he was previously. And we can take a look at how those, stats improved from the dupe that was added in. So obviously here we've managed to get a pretty solid lineup here. He's up to 90,000 defense. So starting from 71 all the way up to 90,000, he is getting a little bit of support from the Goten, Trunks and Krillin unit, I believe. I'm not 100% certain about that, but I think he is, like a little bit, 18% or something. But he is all the way up to 90,000. So already you can see that big jump. And we're starting at close to 1.5 million in terms of the attack. And we got a crit. So you can see that 28% crit chance working. You can see that defense has gone up. You can see that the offense has gone up decently. So yeah, okay, he's not hitting 2 million just yet. But he is definitely more defensively sound. Next time he arrives, he'll be closer to the 100k mark. He'll stack his defense faster because the passive will work on a higher baseline stats and a higher baseline passive. So that means that essentially he's going to stack faster. He's going to not go up 7,000 or then 8,000. He's going to be going up like 8,000 then 9,000, for example. And all those little extra bits will really help him out in lasting a bit longer, in being more, useful in content, in being better in short form content because his starting passive is higher, or his starting baseline stats are higher, being more useful in long form content because he's reaching a higher cap. And so you can see, obviously the dupe would always help, but you can see the measure of how good that single dupe is. And that's why that single dupe's always the most valuable, and it really just adds so much value to your units. It improves them so much, and it makes them really, really solid. So here we're getting that 18% buff again. We are at 105,000 defense. So you can see he's just stacking at a much faster rate. I know people say, oh, there was 18% buffs on both turns. 18% is not that massive, especially the way it incorporates into his passive. And you can see how much more damage he's doing overall. He's going to take a lot of damage here because this is just an in-type unit, but 1.7 million straight away on his second attack. So definitely stacking at a much higher rate. Just overall doing a really good amount of damage. So yeah, if you ever wanted to know how valuable a single dupe in the unit is, it's this valuable. I know it may seem like very simple, but I know sometimes people just want to see, or it's good to have a notion of how valuable that dupe is, where you should be using it, and basically, if you should chase dupes. I know people, chasing dupes is not advised. The reason you shouldn't, so let me put it this way. Don't chase general pool unit dupes. I always advise that never ever chase. So if you're on a banner and you've got a copy of, I don't know, full power metal golden freezer, and you've got a copy of that unit, and you've got his first copy, and you got the general pool third form mega ultra mecha freezer general pool SSR, don't go and chase the general pool SSR. Don't go and try and chase him. Don't go and try and get a second copy in him. General pool SSRs will drop all the time. As you summon, as you keep summoning, you'll increase your pool of general pool SSRs consistently over and over and over again. So don't waste your time in doing that. Obviously his defense isn't reflecting as high this turn. That's because he's got a defensive debuff from the Goku from last turn. So we're just going to wrap it up with Trunks. I think we've seen enough in terms of how his stat output has really improved. So I'm not really going to waste any more time trying to get him another attack. We could have maybe got him another attack stat or something, but it's not really needed. So yeah, that is pretty much how much a dupe increases your hidden potential, and your unit's potential. But like I was saying, don't chase these general pool SSRs. Never do for dupes. It's just not advisable. Rather just make sure that you chase for whatever TUR you want. If you are chasing, obviously chase responsibly, and then you should be more than fine. And remember, units will always come back for the most part, and you can always buy units with your 8 coins from the shop or anything like that, so you will be more than fine. Like, you'll be very happy with what's going on and you'll be okay. So don't panic too much about chasing dupes in general pool SSRs. Just go for as best you can and you'll pick up dupes along the way. But yeah, that's it from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. But until then, cheers and bye.